welcome back. Long time no see. It's been a while since I've made a video. I apologize for that. I've had some ideas for some reviews and some updates to reviews. My wife had some health problems last year, and it kind of took a lot of my time, and kind of had to put things on the back burner. But I'm back now. I'm continuing to work on the windmill. It's been a while since I started it, and I started working on it again yesterday, and my bandsaw motor went out. I was cutting those angles, I think I showed from a previous video, and it would start cutting, going through the wood, and it'd slow down, and I'd back off a little bit, and the motor would start speeding back up again. So I figured the motor's probably shot on it. I can't say anything wrong with the 10-inch Craftsman bandsaw. I bought it at a garage sale. I think I paid like $75 for it 3 years ago, and I've used it a lot, and so it doesn't bother me a bit that I had to buy a new bandsaw. I've got my $75 out of it. Also, that Craftsman 10-inch drill press I bought, I've been real happy with. I don't know if you can see it in the background or not shooting this video, but I've used it quite a bit. I've cut some pretty tough stuff with it, metal and wood, and it's held up real well. The lighting on it is really nice. The only thing about that drill press, and this isn't really an update, but I'm just going to let you know, it's got laser crosses on it, you know, so you can laser down and put the hole exactly where you want it. Those lasers are very hard to keep adjusted and zeroed in. For some reason, I have a hard time with that. But that's probably my only complaint about that. But anyway, this is a 14-inch Craftsman bandsaw. And what I'm going to do is we're going to unbox it together. And then I'll shut the camera off, get it all put together, and then we'll do a review and first startup on it, and see if I like it or not. I got a pretty good deal on it. I went on their website online, and they had it for $425. Normal price I think was $479, and I did a little bit of research and found a few promo coupons and other things, and ended up getting it for $391. So actually the whole cost with tax and everything was $423, and they had it in stock at the local Sears department store here in town, so I was able to pay for it online and then go to the store to pick it up. I didn't have to wait for them to ship it. So which is good, because like I said, I'm going to get busy on that windmill, and a lot of the pieces that I need to cut now, which I'll probably feature and build video, I'm going to need the bandsaw for. So it wasn't it was more of a necessity than a want. I probably could have put it off, but I wanted to get that windmill done. And since I got a good price on it, also I used PayPal credit, and they give you 6 months to pay for it with no interest. So I went ahead and bought it. My wife said I could. I always have to ask her when I get a new toy. Anyway, let's get started. I'm going to shut this off and reset the camera so you can see what I'm doing. I'm trying to stay down here like this, I guess, so you can see what I'm doing. I don't want to stand up and you only get the bottom half of my image, or my body, I guess you could say. So, but I'll try to stay down here as best I can while I open it up. That's one bad thing about doing this myself. I don't have a cameraman, so I'm limited to what I can do. You know, I can set the camera up on a tripod, and but it can't really follow me around, or you know, I'm kind of limited the scenes I can shoot. First thing we have is a big old piece of styrofoam. course, there's the manual for it. I'll definitely be using that. It seems to be packed real well. There she goes. Lego piece of charcoal there, huh? Look at that. I could go fishing in that thing. Alright, of course we got the bandsaw itself, and it's got the stand also, but the stand has to be put together. This thing's extremely heavy, so I may get the stand and stuff put together. This here is the table for it. It's a nice big table. I believe the table is 18 by 20. It's cast iron. Seems real heavy duty, which is good. I'll set that up here. That table is heavy. That or I'm getting old and weak, one of the two. Got something here. And some cardboard. What do I do with my knife? This. I don't know what this is. Find out together. That's what unboxing is all about. They did a real good job of packing it. The box had a little bit of damage, but so far I don't see nothing that's damaged or anything on the saw itself. So these are the legs for the stand. Like I say, I may put the stand together tonight, but may have to get some help to lift up the saw, to put the saw up on the stand. I'm not sure yet. Don't really have anybody around here. I'll have to call one of my friends or something, have them stop by the house and help me pick it up and put it on the stand. But is what I'm going to do. That's just about it. Besides that, you can see the saw itself. Got more parts here. That's the what the table mounts to, and bevels back and forth for your 45-degree angle. So that's part of the table assembly. And the rest of it's just all got some parts. I guess these are the dust port. It's got two dust ports on it, which I kind of like. Also, you know, I was looking at the 14-inch Grizzly. This are just more parts and stuff. I was looking at the 14-inch Grizzly, which I really liked. It was the one I liked was like $525 plus $79 shipping. Grizzly really got good reviews, and I've heard a lot of people talk about Grizzly bandsaws. But it had a 6-inch capacity as far as resawing, like logs and stuff like that. It had a 6-inch capacity, unless you bought the visor, which I think brought it up to 12. This one here is a 14-inch, and it has an 8-inch capacity. It'll cut up to like an 8-inch log, which I kind of liked. This one didn't come with a fence. The Grizzly came with a fence and a miter gauge. This one, I don't see a miter gauge, or I know it didn't come with a fence, but I thought maybe it had a miter gauge, but I don't see one. So I guess it didn't come with a miter gauge either, but I have the miter gauge for that one. I'm hoping that miter gauge will work on this saw for my old table bandsaw. And I've looked at a few videos online about making a fence for it. You can buy aftermarket fences. Craig has one and a few other manufacturers, but they're pretty expensive. And to me they look cheap and cheaply made. So I think is what I'm going to do is give the old hometown try and make my own fence for it. I've seen a couple good ideas online about making a fence. But that'll be a future video. I'm going to shut this off for now. There's not much else to see until I get the stand and stuff put up and get the saw put up on the stand. I may have to wait until I get somebody over here to help me. But once I get it all put together, we'll start up the video again, and I'll do a quick overview on it and some of the features, and we'll cut our first piece of wood together with it and see how it does. Okay? I'll be back in a little while. Alrighty, I got the stand put up. I haven't tightened the nuts down yet, but I thought I'd give you an idea what it looked like before I put the bandsaw up on the stand. The only complaint I have, I was one bolt, nut, and washer short. I looked all over thinking maybe I fell on the floor, but I was real careful when I emptied the bag and made sure they all stayed up on top of the table. And I was one short. When they came in the bag, the nut and washer were already screwed onto the carriage bolt, so I had to unscrew all the nuts and washers, nuts and bolts, and take them all apart. So apparently it either fell off the table somewhere or they came one short. And I tend to believe it came one short because, like I said, I was real careful about not losing anything as I was taking it out of the bag. The stand seems like it's going to be nice and sturdy. It's got rubber feet on the bottom. I kind of wish it had wheels. I'm going to have to figure out maybe some kind of a dolly system for it. Because I like, when I'm not using the bandsaw, I like it to be up against the wall. I don't like it out in the middle of the floor like my table saw is. The table saw is fine like that because I've got the room. But with the bandsaw, I'd end up having to cut more space here in my garage. The bandsaw that I had a real nice spot for it right there next to the garage, right next to the wall. If I needed to pull it out, it was on wheels. I could pull it out a little bit, like if I was cutting a long piece or needed more space, then I could just kind of pick it up on it. It was like on wheels, and I could just kind of pick it up and roll it out if I needed. But I'm probably not going to be able to do that with this. I'm going to have to use some kind of a dolly system on it. And then figure out a way I can lock the wheels or lift the wheels up off the ground so it's got a nice solid footing. But we'll chase that bear when we come to it. But anyway, this is the stand. I'll go ahead and pause the video again and start it up again when I get the saw up on the stand, okay? Anyway, this is my 14-inch Sears Craftsman bandsaw. I had a 10-inch Craftsman, and I got my money's worth. I think I paid like $75 for it at a garage sale. So I got my money's worth out of it. I'm going to go ahead and set these wheels up so I can spin it around for you. It's like that. Take this one like this. So the legs are up. Now I can spin it. That. Let's look at this side. The motor is 120/240. That means it's dual voltage. You can hook it up to 240 or 120. It comes from the store wired up for 120. But you can hook it up to a 240 circuit if you want to. So 1 horsepower, 960 hertz. RPM is 1700, and Class B, whatever Class B means. The stand came together real easy. I found the other bolt, by the way. It was in the box. Must have fallen out of the plastic bag when I took everything out. So I found that last bolt. Anyway, the power cord, and then on top here, this I'm not sure I like. The knob for the tension, the blade tension, it just sits here on top like that. I'm not sure I like that, but we'll have to wait and see how that works. And of course you have a gauge here to show the tension of your blade. I can't zoom in. I might be able to zoom in later when I edit this, but it's got 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch, 5/8, and 3/4. I believe the 3/4 is probably the largest blade you can put on it. I was on Timberwolf today, looking for some blades for it. And they make a 1 inch for resawing, but I don't think this saw will take a 1 inch. I think 3/4 is the thickest blade you can get. But anyway, and then of course you do the tension up here. This is the tracking to get your blade so it tracks the center of the wheels. And of course this knob here, you loosen it up, and then you have you loosen this wing nut up here in front, and then you can move your guide up and down. I've already zeroed everything in. It was pretty simple to put together. I really didn't have any problems with it. Down here, of course you got your gauge. This here zeroes it out to make sure the table is completely level and square. And then once you get the table square and square with your blade and you get everything zeroed in, then if this is off, you loosen this little screw here and it moves this indicator so you can set it right at 0. And that way anytime you want to tilt it for 45 degrees or something like that, and then when you want to go back to the 90 degree, that'll be accurate. This is, down here is the 4-inch dust port, and I guess that's for like professional wood shop. I don't have anything in here that I can use for a 4-inch dust port. However, this one actually comes with 2 dust ports. It's got one here on the front that I put on. This is probably the hardest thing I did to put in this stupid dust port on here, because the screws go behind it and the screws are right in front of the wheel, and you can't get your finger between the wheel and the housing to get the screw through the hole. So I was cussing at that one. But anyway, that's the 2.5-inch dust port for like a shop vac or something like that. This crank here adjusts your belt tension for the if you want to change this 2 speeds. The 2 speeds are, oh, I saw it in here. The high speed is 3340 RPM. The low speed is 1620. You use the lower speed for like metal and hardwoods. Basically what I'll probably have it on the high speed most of the time, because I don't really go into a lot of real hardwoods that much or go into metal that much. So I really don't anticipate me having to change the speed on it very often. So another thing it did is when you get the table on here, it comes from the factory with protective coating on it. And as you can see from the bag how black and stuff it is, I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not, but it was pretty nasty. Hey, look at my hand, just from grabbing that bag. I just washed them for do the video. And so I took some degreaser and cleaned the surface real well, and then took some paste wax and put a nice coat of paste wax on it, so now it's nice and smooth. I do that with my table saw too. It really seems to help a lot to have a coat of wax on the table saw and to keep the surfaces nice, clean, and smooth. I really could tell a big difference when sawing, how much easier it was to push the wood through the blade and stuff when the table is nice and smooth and clean, and it's got a little coat of paste wax on it. Makes a big difference. Let's spin it around. Right here in the front, this is another thing I kind of like. It's got a Spyglass right here, and it's what that's for. So when you want to adjust the tracking on the blade, like if I change the blade, I need to adjust the tracking. Instead of opening up the side and trying to look that way, I can just turn the machine on itself and look right through here with a flashlight or something. It's dark in there, but you can take a flashlight. If I like that, and then you can really see inside there real well. You can see where the blade is tracking on the wheel. So I thought that was kind of a nice feature. Let's spin it around. I know I'm getting out of the camera shot here. How's that? Is that better? Okay. Let's open this up and take a look inside. It's all ball bearing construction. The wheels seem to be aluminum. I don't think they're cast iron. I think they're aluminum wheels. But there's no play or anything in it. Seems to be sturdy and well built. The bottom is the same way. You probably won't be able to see the bottom where the camera's at. It's got a little piece of black metal right here. I'm not sure what that's for. I guess it's to protect the bearings up there. But every time you open it, it gets in the way. Once you open it this far, then you've got to flip it up like that to protect the bearings. So, but the bottom, there's really nothing to see on the bottom. Same thing, it's got the wheel. It's got a brush on it, so it keeps all the sawdust and stuff off the blade as it goes around, which is kind of nice. Well, it keeps it off the wheel, keeps your wheel clean. Okay. So far, so good. We'll flip that up. And then flip the bottom. Start and stop on it. I don't have it plugged in right now. Let's go ahead and get it plugged in. I haven't cut with it yet, so we're going to cut with it together and see how well it does. Okay? Let me move it back a little bit more. Trying to stay in the camera shot. How's that? Better? Okay, I'm going to walk around this way. Well, I'll just walk over the cord, I guess. I'm telling you, it's been one of those days. It has been. Let me move that right there. The on-off switch has got a big, huge stop. It's got a green button here in the middle where it comes on, and then to stop it, you just hit that. I really like that feature. So it's got a little tool tray here in the back. I'm not going to move it around to show you, but it's got about three different size hex Allen, what I call an Allen wrench, for different adjustments and stuff on the machine. And it's got a little storage rack here on the bottom, on the back, to store all the Allen wrenches and stuff that you need for adjustments. So I guess that's about it. So far, I'm impressed with the machine. It seems to be well built. It's got a lot of nice features and stuff on it. One thing it doesn't have is a light. I was hoping I could find one with a light. I may go to Harbor Freight and get me one of those lights that you can bend and maybe mount it on here somehow. I usually use this light and put it on here or something like that, and it helps. That's what I was doing on that 10-inch too. But let's go ahead and get it set up and grab a piece of scrap wood, and we'll do some cutting on it and see how it does. I haven't cut with it yet, so we're going to do this together. Let me find a piece of wood. Be right back. Alright, I got a piece of plywood here, probably about ½ inch or so. So I'm going to loosen this, it's already loose, and then adjust the guide down until I'm about 1/8 inch or so off the top of the piece that I'm going to be sawing. Okay? The thing didn't come with a fence either. That's one thing I really liked about the Grizzly bandsaw. It came with a fence and a miter gauge. This didn't come with nothing. However, I did notice earlier that if you take a piece of 3/4 inch plywood and set it in the miter slots, it's a perfect fit. So it shouldn't be too hard to come up with some kind of a fence for it. You can buy them online, you know, for Craig and stuff like that, but they want so much for them that it's not worth to spend that kind of money for something like that. So I'll build my own fence, and when I do, you guys will be treated to another video. Let's go ahead and turn it on, and let's just make one cut through and see how well it does. This is the original blade that came with it, so I don't know how well the blade is, but I know once I get my wolf blades, timber wolf blade, then it'll cut a lot better. It really made a difference with that 10-inch Craftsman. The Sears blades aren't worth the crap. Even with that 10-inch Craftsman, I ordered blades from Timberwolf, and I saw a huge difference in how well it cut. So if you got a bandsaw and you're using the crappy Harbor Freight blades or the Sears Craftsman blades, go ahead and spend a couple extra bucks. Go online to Timberwolf bandsaw blades and order some online, and you'll be well worth the money. It'll be worth it. I got it at touching. I'm a little slow, but again, I say that's probably the blade, not the machine. Let's see what kind of circle we can make. That's pretty good. It's nice and quiet. 10 inches is real quiet too. There's no vibration or anything that I cannot tell. And that seems to be cutting a pretty good tight radius. I believe the blade that's on here is either 1/4 inch or 3/8. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what size blade it's in there. It looks like it's probably 1/4 inch. Okay, as you can see, it cut pretty sharp, and it cut pretty smooth. So I'm happy with it. It seems to be performing just fine, with the exception of the blade, which I anticipated. I knew that the blades that they come with are never worth it. Even the Grizzly, was told if you order a Grizzly online, go ahead and order blades with it too, because even the Grizzly comes with a cheap, manufacturer's blade. So I'm going to go ahead and go online and order the blades for it. I'll probably get me like a 3/8, 1/16 per inch, something like that. Something that's kind of general woodworking, since I do several different things with it. And I don't want to have to switch out the blade every time I do something a little bit different. So I'm going to get just a common general use blade, but I really do recommend Timberwolf blades. They make a big huge difference, and again, the bandsaw seems to be just fine. I think I made a good choice. Again, I found it online for $4.25, and I also found some coupon codes and stuff like that online, and ended up getting it for $391. And then when you add the tax to it, it brought it back up to $423. But still, it was a pretty good deal because the original price on it was $479. So I think it's a lot nicer machine than what Harbor Freight sells. I looked at the ones at Harbor Freight, and they were almost as much as the Sears Craftsman. And I could just see the difference in the build quality and stuff. You know, I like a lot of things from Harbor Freight, and I buy a lot of tools, buy a lot of stuff from Harbor Freight. But when it comes to like bandsaws, table saws, stuff like that, I'd rather spend a couple extra bucks and get a name brand. Now the miter saw that I bought from Harbor Freight is a 10-inch sliding miter saw. I've used it quite a bit, and it's been a good miter saw. I'm not gonna put it down at all. It's been a real good saw. And even the compressor I bought, that compressor's been in this garage for a year and a half. I bought it from Harbor Freight. It's a 29-gallon, 150 psi. I don't know, I can't remember what the CFM is, but it'll air up my big dump truck tires real easy. And it runs just about any kind of air tool I have here in the garage. Impact wrenches and all kinds of stuff. So I've been happy with that. But when it comes to some of the bigger items like bandsaws and stuff like that, I kind of shy away from. Anyway, this is going to be the end of this video. If you're interested in the Harbor Freight base, I would recommend it for 30 bucks. You know, a lot of times you get the 20% coupon, and it'll take it down to $30. And it's a whole lot easier. I could have spent probably half a day building one myself and making it work, but you know, I've got other things I want to do. So I spent the 30 bucks and just bought something that was already put together and designed for me. But anyway, this is it right here. It's called Mobile Base. The item number on it is 95288, and you can pick it up at the Harbor Freight. And I'm going to cut this video off now and get it posted, and then I'll come back probably this weekend sometime and continue the video on the windmill project that I'm doing and finally getting back to again. So we'll see you next time.